Hi, it's the Chappiness guy. Welcome to today's episode of Vestibula TALKS, episode number 37. We're chatting with Mike. You met him last year as Holiday Mike. This year he is Easy Mike, Magic Mike, Hold the Mic, Don't Drop the Mic, and hey, we love you, Mike. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy the episode, guys. Right, Mike, and we're live.
All right. How you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. How are you today?
Fantastic.
I was just complimenting you because you have this glow and this energy about you, and you look good. It is looking like you're doing good. So I'm happy for that.
I know. You see now when somebody says, "Oh my gosh, you look so good. Nothing can be wrong with you." It, I used to I used to get upset about that.
Yeah.
But then I started to say to myself, "Well, wait a second now. If I look good, that's good."
Yes, it's
Right?
very good. It's very good. Um, I think part of why you look good, and then we can discuss a little bit about it. Oh, are you there, Mike? I think I lost you, Mike.
You know what? I'll take the compliment.
There you go. I lost you there for a second. You
Okay.
disappeared. The
Oh,
image disappeared. But yeah, I think part of why you look good is because we were discussing the fact that you travel, you moved for a little bit
yeah.
somewhere else, and we were having this conversation a couple of weeks ago that I went away. I traveled a bit for a couple of for 4 days to a warmer climate, a different air pressure,
hmm
in a different environment, and I felt much better. The symptoms were really decreased. They were very mellow. I barely felt anything. Has it been the case for you as well? Like now that you're somewhere else, do you feel any difference?
Okay. So I started thinking about that, and I was like, okay, I definitely feel better. There's something that makes me feel better, but I don't know if it's so much about the weather conditions as the
Okay.
fact that it's a different environment. Maybe getting away from some of the places, the place that I was that maybe caused stress.
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't know. I mean, I've gone to different places where the altitude's been different, and it's colder, it's warmer. It seems to be for me when I make a change or I start feeling better or doing different things. That's where I think my trigger comes in. That I'm feeling better. It's not. It's more of an emotional or mental thing than it is
hmm
maybe a physical thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But it
That's a
might
fair
be,
enough.
it could be different for everyone.
Yeah. No, but that's a fair enough assessment. You're right. It could be being away from the stress, from the same routine, from the same uh, energy that is constantly reminding you of this condition. When you go somewhere else, you might have a fresh start. So it might be that. Yeah.
Exactly. And when you're away, and the fact that you've even got yourself to go away, like for me, it was a big accomplishment to do what I did. I mean, I'm away for a number of months. So the fact that, all my friends were like, wow, that's really cool that you did this. So on top of that, it was an accomplishment. I think for us, it's easy for us or anyone with any kind of a condition or a chronic condition to focus on what they can't do. Oh my goodness, I did something and I feel dizzy. Okay, but you did it. So there's a positive to it. So okay, right? So
And that's part of why I admire you and I admire your page. I follow you closely on Instagram, and I to anybody else that doesn't know you, it will seem like you're perfectly healthy and perfectly normal. Like because you live a normal life, you go out, you see your friends, you're social, you travel, you do activities like you were bicycle riding this morning. So in the eyes of someone else that doesn't know you, they might be like, well, that guy is healthier than anybody else that I might know. But is the thing is that you're just not letting the condition define you. You are still living a life the way you want to live it and know how the condition wants you to live it. So I admire that.
I think there's that in you too. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I like always having a conversation with you, because you're positive energy. And I think that it comes down to taking responsibility and accountability for yourself and for your own situation, being able to define what is a good experience for you, what is a good day for me. I'm not going to let someone else define that for me, or what is an accomplishment for me. It used to be when I would do something simple and I'd feel good about it, and I may have a friend or someone who doesn't know me say, "You're so excited about walking up 4 flights of stairs," and I'm like, well, and I would start to feel bad about that, because it's sort of like, oh wow, you know what I mean? I was allowing someone else to define
Yes.
what was good for me, and that's a big deal. I mean, being able to say, okay, for example, I took this bike ride this morning, right?
Uh-huh.
Here's what I do. Before I go out on the bike, I think to myself, I'm going to go on this bike ride, and then I'm going to be speaking with the Chappiness guy. Now, if I might be dizzy, okay? I might feel dizzy because I'm going on a 20-mile bike ride, and I'm coming back. So I am prepared for the fact that might be the case, that I might be dizzy. I'm not canceling. I'm not doing the bike ride. I'm just thinking to myself, there is a possibility that I'm going to be dizzy after the bike ride. And it's just like, you take an athlete, you take an Olympic athlete, before they do something, maybe they stretch, maybe they prepare themselves so that they get themselves into a position to win,
Yes.
to do better. And I think that for us, what we have to do is take a second to say to ourselves, okay, let's get ready for what we're going to do today. And let's be realistic about what we can accomplish. And also, let's not get on ourselves if it doesn't work out exactly like it used to, because that's not the case.
And you hit the nail on the head when you said that you're gonna go for a bike ride, you're gonna do an interview, and you might be dizzy, and that's okay, because you know what your limits, but you know that you have to basically deal with this situation, so you're preparing yourself mentally for it. And same with me. I just went grocery shopping this morning, and I was feeling a little bit wobbly, and I said, oh, I have an interview with Mike. I might be dizzy during the interview, but I said I am going to still do it, because it's if it gets too bad, I know Mike will understand. But if not, then I will be able to accomplish it, and I'll be satisfied that I was able to push through and to do it together. So yes, a lot of times we need to prepare, visualize our plan and plan ahead. We can't just go by the wind and wing it. We sometimes have to prepare mentally and be okay. This may be a circumstance, we may be feeling symptoms, but we can still try to do it. So yes, you're right.
And to take it one step further, even, let's say that we were dizzy. Let's say we were both very dizzy, okay? So even if we are, and we're talking, and we're going through this, that's also something that can help somebody else who's watching the video to say, oh, wow, you know what? These two guys are talking away. They may not be feeling particularly great. They may have symptoms. Like today, right now, I'm not, I would say that maybe there's a little bit. It's not as bad as, say, another time when we chatted. So either way you look at it, you maybe try to find the good in a situation. I was thinking about for like in the world right now. It's crazy right now, right?
Yes.
And I think I told you about this, or maybe we talked a little bit about, the coronavirus and people are going through symptoms. And, you know, a friend of mine, you know, this is awful, but he got the virus. He's okay now.
Okay.
But, you know, he says to me, I'm what you call, Mike, I'm a long hauler. I've got symptoms that are sticking with me. I say, oh, for how long? It's like, you know, well, Mike, 2.5 weeks. I'm like, oh, long hauler. I think you may have said it, or somebody said, okay, that makes us a life hauler. You're complaining about the symptoms for 2.5 weeks. And I used to say to him, you know, I got myself, I was like, oh, you know, that annoys me. It annoyed me. But then I thought to myself, wait a second here. I could be helpful. I could be helpful to this person. We have similar things that he's going through that I'm going through.
Yeah.
He may, you know, who knows, maybe he'll see a doctor that will lead to some sort of relationship between what I'm going through. So yes, of course, I'll be helpful in any way I can to this person who's going through some things, chronic things that you know, maybe I've been through. Right?
Yeah, yeah, you could guide him and advise him. And even if the symptoms are not the same, you've been dealing with chronic symptoms for many years now, that you can tell him, hey, you know what? Who knows if he'll get completely cured or not, but it will get better. You'll be more manageable. You'll be able to live a life dealing with the symptoms. And speaking of symptoms, you sent me a picture of the book Victory Over Vestibular Migraines.
Yes.
So I read it as well. Have you finished reading it, or you're in the process of
reading it? I'm going slow because I'm enjoying it so much. You know what I mean?
It's a good book. So what do you think so far? What do you think so far about it?
First of all, I'm reading it like where I live, it's like kind of close to New York City. So I'm like sit on the on grass and I'm looking out at the skyline of New York, right?
Nice.
And I'm reading, and all of a sudden I'm like, yes, like and people are all around me looking at me, and I'm like, well, oh, so sorry, you know, just a connection with this book.
Yes.
I like the idea that it is apparent to me that this doctor, and we should give him credit, Dr. Bay, is that his name?
Yeah.
Dr. Bay, in this book, and it's called Victory
Over Vestibular Migraines.
Victory Over Vestibular Migraines. He definitely understands us, right? He gets it. He, for a lot of it, I don't know if he had something personal. I don't think so, but he totally gets it and understands it.
Describes it, yeah.
We've been through with so many doctors, you know, just between the two of us, I can bet you that we have close to, you know, what, 40 doctors probably that we've seen.
At least.
At least. And we're like, you know, wow, they don't understand us, you know, or you go away and you feel bad.
Yes.
So I think the big thing for me is making connections with people, friends, other people who are going through similar, and definitely physicians and doctors that have an awareness, a very, very acute awareness of what our situation is for a chronic, because going to someone who isn't good can set you back.
Yes, yes. Is there, you're gonna love the rest of the book. It's a great book. I liked it a lot. Is there someone in your life that you would like them to read that book so they understand why you live in a daily basis?
Totally, you know, but it's also, you know, it's funny. I still feel, and something I need to work on, I feel uncomfortable sometimes for handing somebody a complete book and saying, here, read this so you understand what I'm going through. It almost makes me feel, I don't know, like a victim or something like this. Now, I don't think I should be feeling this, so it's something I'm working on. But, you know, like I'm going to see my family this next week, and I would love to say, you know, here's the deal. I think what I'm going to do actually is, instead of giving the whole book, just say, look, this, you say that, you know, you don't understand this about what I'm going through. This portion here, I'm going to ask you if you would to read this. Sometimes it helps when it comes from somebody else, right?
It does. And my wife has always been very, sorry, as I got this guy here.
Duke, hello.
So my wife has always been very supportive. But when I read the book, I told her, "Would you mind reading it so you can understand a little bit more of what I go through?" She's been reading it, and she's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "I don't know how you or anyone can live a daily life and can function with these symptoms." And I'm like, "Exactly." I'm like, "Now you get it." And she's like, "Yes." She's like, "It's overpowering and it's overwhelming to know that someone is dealing with this invisible condition that is so powerful and that is so debilitating at the same time, right?" So that's why I asked you if you have anybody that you would like to share the book with.
Well, you know, everything that we're talking about, and you know what I was saying about, you know, nobody's going to define what is a good day for me. No one, not even a physician, is going to tell me that I'm having a good day if I feel like I'm not having a good day, and vice versa. However, I started to think to myself when I was reading this book, I don't know if I'll go to see this particular doctor. Maybe I will, because he sounds like he's got it together.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, and some advice, if I had to give some advice to anyone else, you know, sometimes it feels like when we are with a physician, ENT, a neurologist, or whatever else, it's almost like where we are auditioning for them. Like, like, please believe me, please. Now I want to turn the tables a little bit. I want the doctors to audition for me. I want them to audition for us. I want them to be, I want them to prove themselves to me, that they know what I'm going through before I start to go down the path.
That is very empowering, and you're right on it, Mike, because you're right. It almost feels like an audition of us begging to be understood, to be heard. And a lot of times they just seem to dismiss it, like, "Oh, okay, well, you're dizzy and what else?"
Yeah.
But you're right. You're right.
Something interesting. It's like, yeah, dizzy. Okay, vertigo. Okay, yeah, sure. You know, whatever.
Yes, so you're right. And that's yeah. If you do see this doctor, please let me know how that goes, because I'm very curious about that. That will be that could be a really interesting new shed of light for you. Yeah.
And you know, I think also, like, to take it, like you say, your wife is taking the time to understand. You know, a couple of really good friends and family that are taking time to understand you may be more important than having 100 people that you're trying to convince that, you know, there's something going on with you. And I think that that's become a big thing for me too. I wouldn't say auditioning friends, but it's like, you know, hey, look, are you going to take the time? My life is short. Hey, I'm a little older than you are, so I have less left. So I'm not going to waste it really too much with people that either are, you know, making me feel negative or
questioning you. Yeah, you don't feel invested.
And I won't allow them. I won't allow them to make me feel negative. That's the big thing. I really I've gotten past all of that stuff.
Good. Last year, when we had our first chat, we introduced you as Holiday Mike, and and I know the holidays can bring a lot of stress in you because you started experiencing the symptoms during the holidays, plus the hectic thing of dealing with family and things like that, and get-togethers and going out and expectations. What are you expecting for this crazy year of 2020 with the holidays? Do you feel that you'll be able to handle them better, or it's gonna be madness?
Can it be any worse? I mean, I'm thinking, no, I'll tell you what, I have a whole different relationship with my family, and a lot of it had to do with me, because I chose to, for a long period of time, not talk about what was going on with me, not, you know, and then I would, underneath it, maybe resent my family for not knowing. But how could they not know if I'm not talking about it? How could they know what was going on if I chose not to talk about it? So I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, how we handle ourselves. And also, you know, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, I might opt out of doing things because I didn't want to be a burden.
Yes.
And what I didn't understand with my family is that they would rather have me around and deal with me than not participate.
How you participate, yeah.
And not explain why I wasn't participating also. So I think that I like to throw it back to us, because the more we take control of ourselves, the more that we can accomplish things, I think, for ourselves. So I don't like to look to outside and say, oh my gosh, because of this situation, I'm no good. This, that, you know, whatever. So that's how I feel.
Okay. Last year when we also spoke, we talked a little bit about medication, and then you have tried a few different ones, and I believe Effexor, right, was one that you were trying at the time. How is it now? Are you currently on it, or are you trying something different, or just completely eliminated it?
Okay, so I kind of scaled back a lot with a lot of different things. If I could not make a solid connection between feeling better and a medication, then I chose to believe I was feeling better because of things I was doing, like going out, you know, getting out, sitting in the sun, hitting tennis balls, doing whatever I'm doing. So I really did dial back a lot. As far as Effexor is concerned, I definitely cut that down. Like, I'm weaning myself from it.
Okay.
You remember you had told me, I think you said, whoa, be careful.
Yeah, that one is a tricky one. Yeah, Effexor can be, once you get out of it, your body starts to crave it again. So some symptoms might come back stronger because it's telling you, hey, give me the pill back. Yeah.
And you know what? I thought about that as I weaned off of it. There were a couple of days where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so dizzy and nauseous and so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, well, so many people told you that you're going to be. Let's not
overthink it. Yeah.
Let's not have a fit. Let's go home, lie down, do whatever. So I have really dialed back on just about everything. I'll tell you what I do. 2 things. When I wake up in the morning, I have water. I have red wine vinegar. You take it, you shake it up a little bit. You take a tablespoon. I drink that very first thing in the morning, and then, you know, everybody's talking about water. You know, drink water. Nobody's drinking enough water, and no matter what I do, I don't think I drink enough. But I put lemon in my water. I squeeze a half a lemon in each time I drink. Oh, here it is, Mike's water bottle. So but that's it. That really is it. All of the vitamins that, and we've talked about this, I got rid of them just to see if I felt any different. Now it's been like, what, 4 weeks? I don't feel much different.
And you might be onto something there, Mike, because I was spending thousands of dollars in vitamins and supplements. And at one point I said, you know what, I'm going to scale it back a little bit and see the difference. Yeah. And right now I'm only taking a few, not as many as I used to. And I do feel better or the same, but no worse for sure. So so a lot of times we get influenced by a lot of people. No, take this, take that. This supplement is good for you. This supplement might do better. And at the end of the day, it might not be. You might not see a change, and you're spending a lot of money on them. The other thing that I say is, people say, "Oh, supplements are natural; they won't hurt you." Not true. I bought this herbal. What's it called again? Bushwellia, something like that. Yeah. And it's a natural supplement that is supposed to relieve pain and relieve pressure in the head. I started taking it, and I don't know if it interacts with something that I'm eating or with another supplement I'm taking or with the medication I take, but I started having vivid nightmares to the point that I wake up panicking in the middle of the night with my heart beating, and I'm like, what is happening? Because the nightmares were crazy. I stopped the supplement, nightmares stopped. So people gotta be careful with that too.
I think when we touched on this before too, it's like when you do, it's like a cocktail. It's like, you know, you have different things going on. You're taking different medications. You're not sure exactly which one is helping, which one's not helping. That's good that you were able to isolate that. And, you know, for different people, different things. And, you know, it's really funny. You look at a medication, some say, oh, it makes you lose weight. Some say, oh, it makes you gain weight. I challenge somebody sometimes, when you take a medication, if it makes you lethargic, you may not be doing as much. So maybe you're gaining weight because you're not doing as much. Yes. Not necessarily, it's not the medicine. It's just maybe an effect of it. But yeah, at the end of the day, there's, you know, how many, you know, thousands, millions of people that are affected with chronic disorders, and everyone's different, and everybody will have their own way with it. You know, it's really difficult. It's difficult when you have someone who is so like, this is the right way for everyone.
Yes, yes.
We've come across this, right?
We have.
I find myself being the person to say, not so fast. You know what I mean? You know, somebody still, you know, have an argument with someone who says, well, you know, because of your stress, that caused your situation. I said, really? I said, who are you to tell me that because of my stress, that caused my situation? I don't remember being a necessarily stressful guy. I do remember having all these physical symptoms. I said, for me, I believe it was a physical thing that caused, when it happened, I became stressful. So, you know, what's right, what's wrong, who knows? I mean, you know, I think we can both say this, even though it pains me to say it, we don't have a cure. There's not a cure for what we have. We can heal, we can feel better, we can alleviate symptoms. But if there was a cure, I think you and I would probably take a week off from work and just, you know, write each other and say, there's the answer, it's out there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I would love that magic pill that cures it, but unfortunately, we just have to learn how to live a normal life with this. It's true.
And you seem a lot more calm and maybe because you were away, I don't know, but you seem a little bit more at ease too. So you know, I think we find a way to find a way to make our heal.
Yeah. You're a pretty healthy guy in the sense that you're athletic, you're fit, you eat fairly good, I'm assuming. You haven't fallen into this whole celery juice thing? You haven't bought into it? Or cause I do the celery juice, but I don't know if you do.
Hold on, don't go away. Don't go anyplace.
Celery.
Now, I don't drink celery juice like, I eat celery. I eat it. It's just part of everything else that I eat. But the healthy guy also eats cookies, okay? These are my favorite cookies in the world. It's like, I'm not going to be so, fit that hey, I had a whole thing of ice cream last night too. I was watching the US Open and I just kind of like downed the whole pint of ice cream because I felt like it.
And you don't feel any difference? Like you don't, when you eat it, you don't feel that anything changes in the symptoms, or I'm surprised.
I knew I had to go on my bike ride this morning.
Now, Mike, the bike ride, that's a topic that I do bike rides quite often as well. And some people tell me, some people are like, oh, how do you do it? I can barely even walk with this. How are you even doing a bike ride? Other people attack me and they're like, oh, your symptoms must not be as strong if you're able to ride a bike. And Mike, it's not just me, right? Like, you also feel the symptoms when you're on a bike, but you make the best of it and you still push to a limit, to an extent. You obviously don't want to hurt yourself, but you still deal with it, right? Like, I when I'm on a bicycle, symptoms are there. The ground feels like it's uneven. The ground feels like it's moving. My vision feels like it's trickling. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy it. And I enjoy the wind and I ride the bike. When I get off the bike, I feel like I'm floating. But at the same time, I don't let the symptoms stop me from doing it. How is it with you?
Okay, so you hit on a lot of good things in there. First of all, I think when we get on our bicycle, we talk about, going to a vestibular therapist and you're doing all these different exercises and so on and so forth. And I challenge anyone who says, oh, well, I can't afford a therapist. I can't do this. Tell me that riding a bicycle for you or I is not therapy.
Therapy, yes.
I mean, I have a balance issue. I think maybe you have a little balance issue. I don't know. I have balance issues, though. So for me, from the moment I get on the bike, I am aware of my symptoms. I'm aware that when I get to a cross street, like, I'm going to stop and I'm going to look around, and looking around can trigger a symptom.
Yeah, challenging, yes.
When I'm going, for me, head movement is where I'm not as good. And so, like, if I play tennis, my head's moving all the time. I'm aware that that's not maybe the easiest exercise for me to do. So yes, I feel symptoms when I'm riding my bicycle. I do believe that you or I could ride our bicycle safely, and it could be great exercise for us to do so. I actually think it's one of the best exercises for us. It's no impact on our legs, and it's it's healthy, and you're breathing the air and so on and so forth. But yes, I am aware of the symptoms. Where I used to be is scared of the symptoms, meaning yes, I would not ride my bicycle because, oh my gosh, I may feel dizzy. Well, guess what? I will feel dizzy. I mean, okay, there's there's surprise. I mean, I am going to feel somewhat dizzy. And yes, get me on a cobblestone street or something that is not even, it's challenging. It's challenging. But I kind of make a game out of it. It's like, okay, can I do this? Can I get through the cobblestone here? What's my choice? There are no other things. So you have to sort of laugh as you do it, right?
Yeah. And you said something that is completely right. Handling it rather than being scared of it, because when I went away with my family last week, they said, let's go kayaking, and I'm like, are you crazy? How are you gonna put me in water? I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to handle the waves. How am I gonna be in water? It's not solid ground. And I was panicking. And then I stopped myself and I said, you know what? So what if I'm dizzy? So what if I'm in the water? I'm with my family. I have a life jacket on. I'll be okay.
Right. What is? I mean, it's so old. It's so old school to say what's the worst thing that can happen. But I find myself saying that a lot.
Yes.
Now,
And I did it.
Yes.
I went kayaking. Yes, it felt really trippy, Mike. I'm not gonna deny it. Like it felt, my stomach felt like I had it in my throat the whole time. It just the waves and stuff. But I got out of it feeling stronger and more confident. I'm like, I did it. I nailed it. And probably next time I'll do it again. So yes.
And for me, like, it's really funny because the worst part about a kayak for me is getting in and getting out. Because when the boat is sort of like this, that's when it's like I look like my friends. I have a friend that was laughing at me, okay? And then I said, you know what? I do look pretty funny. I would be laughing at myself if I was looking at me, because it was that tricky, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it when I got on the boat. And I think that, we talked about this a little bit, I think once before, which is how many times are people who are vestibular issues just deciding not to do something before they even try it, because they are afraid that they're going to have the feeling of not being able to do something that they used to be able to do so fluently. And that's a problem for people with chronic illness, is that I think that it's too easy to say, I'm not going to participate because I don't want to feel bad about myself if I can't do it the same way, you know?
I'm going to ask you a question that is a bit touchy, is a bit difficult to answer. A lot of people that struggle with these vestibular conditions like we do, or with chronic illness in general, they hide it from their employers. Because the fear of being discriminated against, and the fear of being let go, and the fear of being judged upon. How do you feel? And a lot of people completely just quit their jobs because it's hard for them to function, and I understand that 100%, and I don't blame them. But do you feel that there should be a little bit more understanding from employers that are dealing with an employee that is a good employee but is dealing with a chronic illness? Or should people still be afraid of speak up and just keep hiding it and keep it to themselves and just not show any symptoms or not show that you're dealing with something personal?
Wow, I'm going to talk general about this because, there's so many specific everybody's situation is so different. I think that ultimately, I want to be if I am working for someone else, I want to be working for a compassionate person, whether or not it's this situation or, somebody who may be a different ethnicity or anything else like that. I want to be employed by a company or working for a person that is compassionate. And saying that, if I was not in that situation, I would do everything in my power to find a way to be in that situation, and people sometimes feel trapped. Oh, well, this is what I've done for 30 years of my life. I can't, what am I going to do? And well, if you have an employer who is, not good for you, that could be an excuse for you not moving forward with your life. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, what do you expect from me? My employer is so awful. Well, I mean, I hate to say this, but you have to grab the reins sometimes, and jobs, are stressful. It's like it's like one of the biggest stress situations in your life. So I think you have to get yourself aligned as best you can with something that fits. And I think it's unrealistic if you or I turn back the clock 15 years ago or whenever we were not afflicted and to now. We're different people. We have a different set of what's going on in ourselves with our symptoms and so on and so forth. So that might mean that we have to realign what we are doing in our life. Makes sense, right? We may not be exactly the same person. And I know that you have made some changes, and and me too. Me too. It's comfortable. I found that it's a little bit more comfortable working on my own than maybe in an office environment right at this moment in time. Somebody else may say, I want that camaraderie. It's different for different people.
Everybody has their own challenge.
You have to align yourself, with something that makes sense for you. You know what the joke is? You remember I was saying you have to interview your doctor? You have to interview your employer too.
Employer, yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Mike, what would you like to say to so there are I often with my Chappiness page often encounter two types of people. The person that is completely devastated by this and they are debilitated and they say they are never gonna get better, and the one person that says, I tried everything, nothing is healed me, but I'm waiting for that one perfect magic cure, one perfect pill. What would you like to say as an advice to those people, the ones that given up and the ones that still have the hope that there is one thing they can do to cure everything?
Well, don't you think, when you think about both of those types of people, I don't know about you, but I have been both of those types of people at some time. At some time, I was looking for the miracle quick cure. Hey, sometimes I wasn't even sure what was going on with me. So I didn't know if I was going to be living in a week because I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
So I think we're made up of all these different people that we may be seeing, at different stages with this sort of thing. I can't speak for anyone else but myself. But what I say for me that seems to have worked is I'm not waiting for the magic pill. I'm not waiting because, first of all, if the magic pill comes out, do you want to be the first one trying it? I don't want to. Maybe it will give you nightmares like that.
Like that other one, yeah.
If people want to stand in line for the miracle cure, let them, and they can try it. I'm not going to wait for the magic pill, and I'm not going to sit there on the sidelines either and say I'm going to just wait around for something or not do. I mean, this is the deck that we were dealt. This is what I have. This is what you have. I can list hundreds of people that are in worse situations than both you and I.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true.
And if nothing else, you and I could try to help those people that are less fortunate, and we would probably feel better for ourselves. Some of the people that we are going through this with are those people that are may not have a good outlook, may not be positive about it. And I say all this, I don't mean to be like I'm Mr. Rosy, looking through rose-colored glasses. I mean, I have days that are not so good, days that I don't feel good, but I just have to remind myself that everybody has days that they don't feel good. What are we going to do? So I guess for me, I'm not waiting around for the magic pill.
My last question to you, Mike, is how do you find your chappiness?
How do I find my chappiness? Well, it's so funny, and this doesn't quite answer the question, but it is funny when I'm reading an article or I see something, I think of you. Like I'm like, oh, my Chappiness guy has to read this. You know what I mean? Like I really do think, and I think the nice chappiness for me is knowing that there are people like you out there that I may not see every day. We've never even met in person, you and I, but yet I know that you're out there and you're going through what I'm going through. And the more that I let people into my world and the more that I give myself to other people, I think the better it is for me. And so I feel my chappiness that way.
That's very nice. That's very kind. And hey, we can always change the denominator in person once this Corona thing settles. You feel free to come to Canada and stay at our place. You can meet Duke.
I'm laughing so hard because, you know, even when we set up this meeting today, it's like how much I don't know about you. It's like, okay, we said 12 noon, right? Of course, I'm now in the New York area, so everything revolves around New York. So I'm like, oh, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So when I called you early this morning, it must have been like, I can't even imagine how early it was.
No, it was 9. It's okay. Not too bad.
But I mean, you know, yes, of course, we will definitely get together. And if I'm here, you know, who knows? I mean, there may be a great physician or a doctor or somebody that I come in contact with that
yes,
might be.
A lot of great doctors. But again, if you do see Dr. Bay, let me know because I'll be very interested to know how that follows up. So yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All right, Mike. Well, pleasure always talking to you. I really enjoy our conversations. I think you're a great guy, and you have a lot of experience, knowledge, and a lot of positive energy to share. So thank you.
And I'm still there to take care of your dog if ever you and the family want to go away, and you can't go. You think of me.
Thank you, sir. I'll keep that in mind. All right, Mike.
All right, take care.
Are your chappiness. Bye bye.
Bye bye.